So right now he's cutting the mud flap and bracket off because he has to move it up a little bit further to make it work with the shortened frame. So much brighter in here. We got new lights. We have to go back and get some more, but so much easier to see. Now he's making a cut. He has to cut through this crack right here. He's cutting off that bracket because it has to be moved.
Alright, so everything's cut out. I cut that channel back just a little bit. It'll be just fine. I cut that bracket off. I cut that bracket off, got it cleaned up. And we got the mud flaps kind of welded back in, back where they belong. I think that's more than adequate to hold it. So I believe our next step is, let's just go ahead and take it outside and we'll flip it over again. I got this bracket taken off, that one taken off. What I was doing was cutting one side of the C channel and getting a pry bar in there and just prying it off until I broke the weld. Trying to, you know, score the weld and then break it. It's a lot easier than doing it with a plasma cutter. So yeah, everything I think is ready except for this. I'm gonna go ahead and solder this together. This is where it was connected from me last time, but we're gonna be using this line here because we had to move the wire up a little ways. So I'm gonna go ahead and solder that now.
Okay, we're all done with what we're doing with this right now. So he's gonna hook it up, take it out, turn it upside down, and then put it on the truck, and then bring it back in and put like two more, I think 2 or 4 more brackets, I'm not sure, on it. So, all right, I gotta help hook it up.
All right, this is what I'm gonna make the brackets out of. And I'm just gonna split it in half. So I'm gonna use a Milwaukee carbide circular saw for cutting metal. And I wanna cut it this way. I want the bulk of the weight over on the bench, not overhanging, because there's not a lot here. So I'm gonna measure over from this line over, which would correspond with the center of the blade over to here, so that when I'm cutting, I can have my speed square here lined up, and I'll vice grip it in place, and then I can run against the speed square and give you a nice straight cut. It's really not that crucial, I guess. That's 3.5. It's 3.5 inches over. It's not that crucial, but I like things as accurate as I can get them. So I never use the end of the tape measure. I'm going to set that on 2 inches, which means we need to go over 3.5, so it's 5.5. So I'll go to 5.5 and make my mark. When I first started on the one flatbed, I was looking for something to mark with, and a lot of guys suggested that I use the Silver Streak pencils. Well, that's the first one I started with, and that's what's left of it. I'm always about, you know, being efficient. I don't like to waste money, so I'll probably run that down until there's like nothing left of it. Alright, so we're going to mark this right here. Yeah. And I'll put my vice grips on this side. And I'm hoping that I can put this on here and the vice grips not be in the way when I run the saw through. Okay, there we go. I got the piece clamped to my bench here, so see if we can get that over just a skosh. See the line? I went over it. I want to be able to see the line. There we go. There we are. See what that is. I mean, that's a nice straight cut and it's cold. You know, that's one nice thing about these saws. It's a very accurate cut. Stick my speed square on it. Of course, it's only going to be as accurate as the straight edge we're working with, but yeah, you can tell that she's right on the money. So now I'll just measure back this one 3.5 inches as well. Make us 5.5. And I understand this doesn't have to be this accurate, but it is what it is. It's just the way it is. Alright, reclamp this. Turn this around. Now, since I turned it around, oops, that's not what I need. Let's go out a little farther. Get that to reach in there. Go. Alright, now my speed square is going to go on this side and then be 3.5 that way. So I'm going to have to turn and run my saw the other way. If I ran my saw this way, the difference in the offset, this is only like 2 inches or 2.5, and this is 3.5. So I got to turn this saw and then run it through this way. Alright, so I've reversed my camera so you guys can see. That's the point I like to make about that saw. I mean, any friction, abrasive material, you're not going to be able to do that. And although it may not seem like a big deal, I mean, you can immediately go to working on that part, which is really nice. Look at the accuracy right there. It's absolutely perfect. Two ends up, and you can see these two lined up here. There you go. Perfectly square. Alright, so now we're going to lay out our holes we need to drill and get them drilled, which I think I'm going to use the mag drill. The mag drill is so much easier. I'll just bolt them, vice grip them down here, clamp them down, get it laid out. before I go and put these on, we're going to take a wire wheel and we're going to clean this all up and get the oil off of it, and I'm going to give them a little bit of paint here. I like to paint everything we put on, not because of make it look pretty as much as preservation, you know. I don't want it to rust between here and the frame. Let's get this cleaned up. Before I get started here, I should make note that I'm not a welder. And I know that all the welders out there cringe when I do this because they're welders and I'm not. You're supposed to weld from the bottom up, so any porosity or any contaminants you're not putting in your weld, they stay where they're at. Well, I don't weld well going up. I weld better coming down. So it's my philosophy that my way of thinking is until I can weld well going up, I'm going to weld my best, which isn't great, coming down, because it's better than a crappy weld the other way. So like I said, I would much rather get a decent weld for me coming down as I would a bad weld going up. And not to say that the welds are great, because I'm not a welder, I don't have any training, but I haven't had any break yet, but it is early today. Anyways, that one's in. I got the other side bolted in as well, so we're going to get the welder on the other side and lay it to it. I got the batteries disconnected just in case anybody is curious. So, alright, let's get the other side. What you heard popping is my brace, right? My clamp right here. It's pushing up on the wood, and it's letting one of them boards pop. That's loose up there. what I found works for me is if I take my left hand that I'm not using to run my gun and I prop it off something and make my sweep, it seems to give me better results. Again, I'm not a welder, so everything I'm saying is just kind of what I've come across or what I've figured out. Alright, we'll get a look at that. Yeah, so you can see, like, this is very rusty material, and I ground it down the best as I could because I wanted, well, it's just so hard for you guys to see them, I know, but anyways, I'm looking for that ring, you know, of discoloration on both, even all the way up through. Like, you see how the paint, maybe if I move the camera out of the light, you see how the paint kind of bubbled back the same amount on either side, and you get that discoloration on the metal on either side. That's kind of what I was going for. Now I have to touch up my paint because I was kind of a doofus and I wanted to paint these before I put them on, but whatever. We'll let them cool, clean it up, and we'll get some paint on there. But I like how the edge of this is just melted ever so slightly, and you can see it's melted into the C channel. We'll let that dry, get another coat on, and get some paint on. Let that dry and get another coat on in a second, as soon as it's dry. Well, I thought I was recording, but I guess I wasn't, but I just hooked up all the batteries. They're all back together. I always disconnect the negatives before I start welding on a truck, or using a plasma cutter, either one, but they're all hooked back up in good clean connections, covers on. It really could use some batteries, but they don't want to put batteries in it because it's going to sit till probably May or June before they use it. Take it for a test drive, and I want to watch the air pressure, watch the voltage, and oil, you know, watch everything and make sure nothing's different than when I drove before I did the work, and everything looks great. Totally good oil pressure. No check engine lights, no ABS lights. That's always nice because, you know, we have the ABS connector apart, so we're on a country road. You can see here how rough this road is. It's pretty bad. Of course, this truck's got dual air seats, driver and passenger, so it's not horrible to ride in. Alright, we'll make a turn up here and get up on the highway. Want to get up to a little faster here. he's all done. So that means we are on to the next project again, because there's never a shortage, that's for sure. So if you guys like what we're doing, give us a thumbs up if you haven't already. Hit the subscribe button, leave your respectful comments down below, guys. We will catch you on the next one.